Eli was a systems engineer aboard the research station Orbitus 9, orbiting the gas giant Lyra 7. His job was mostly maintenance, ensuring life support systems functioned, monitoring power flow, and occasionally fixing things that broke when the station's alien visitors had misaligned their tech with human machinery. He wasn't a hero or a diplomat, merely someone reliable and unremarkable. Until Kiara arrived. Kiara's arrival was chaotic. The airlock malfunctioned due to incompatible environmental protocols, and she stumbled awkwardly onto the docking platform, her luminous skin flickering like a malfunctioning hologram. Eli had rushed to help, gripping her arms and steadying her. "You'll be fine," he said, a little out of breath. "Just follow me to the decontamination bay." Kiara's eyes, large and multifaceted, regarded him silently. Words were secondary to the psychic undercurrent she felt emanating from him, a strange warmth that reminded her vaguely of sunlight filtering through water. In the days that followed, Eli guided her through the station. He taught her basic human gestures, corrected her speech patterns, and, most importantly, showed patience where humans rarely did. Kiara was fascinated. She asked endless questions about human culture, but when it came to emotions, she hesitated. "What is love?" she asked one evening, as the violet gas giant filled the viewports with soft, swirling light. Eli smiled faintly, leaning against the console. "Love is when you care for someone so much that their happiness matters more than your own. It's complicated, but it's also simple. It's not just a word, it's action." Kiara tilted her head, processing the concept like a strange, beautiful puzzle. She had studied emotions, even practiced empathy, but love was elusive, like chasing a star you could see but not touch. The middle, discovery and danger. Weeks passed, and the human and alien grew closer. Kiara tried to speak the word herself, but stumbled over it. Her accent, her inflection, her very voice carried an otherworldly resonance that made the human ear shiver in strange delight. Eli, meanwhile, found himself laughing at her attempts, yet never cruelly, always encouraging. Then trouble arrived. Orbitus 9 intercepted a distress signal from a nearby planet, Vera 6, known for its mineral wealth but unstable tectonic activity. A mining colony was trapped under a sudden quake, and the only team capable of responding fast enough was the station's crew. Eli volunteered, partly because he knew the aliens might be of no help if the human colonists perished. Kiara insisted on coming, her psychic sensitivity making her the perfect guide through the unstable tunnels. The descent to Vera 6 was tense. The station's shuttle bounced through debris-littered skies as the quake-ravaged terrain awaited below. Inside, Kiara clutched Eli's arm, his warmth grounding her. "You're brave," Eli said, eyes focused on the controls. "But you don't have to do this alone." Kiara shook her head, determination shining in her eyes. "I must, but thanks for staying close." Eli smiled, feeling a strange tug in his chest he didn't want to define yet. "I'm not going anywhere." They arrived just in time. Miners were trapped in a collapsed tunnel, and the crew had to act quickly. Using Kiara's psychic resonance, she located survivors through the unstable rubble, while Eli coordinated mechanical supports to prevent further collapse. It was exhausting, dangerous, and terrifying, but they worked in perfect synchrony. Finally, after hours of backbreaking effort, the last miner emerged. Exhausted, covered in dust, Eli looked at Kiara, and she looked at him. "You saved them," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You didn't even hesitate." Eli shrugged, brushing soot from his jacket. "It's what anyone would do, right?" Kiara hesitated. She wanted to say more, but the words seemed impossible. Her psychic sense felt like it was quivering, almost humming with emotion. She tried anyway. Thanks, love, Eli said softly, almost absent-mindedly, reaching out to place a hand on her shoulder. The effect was immediate. Kiara froze. Her psychic resonance fluttered wildly, emotions colliding in a way she had never experienced. She blinked, whispered the words herself, tentatively, uncertainly. Thanks, love. It was the first time she had ever heard the words directly from a human in context. Not from a book. Not from a simulation. Not from someone explaining it theoretically. The meaning was no longer abstract. It was real. The emotional climax. They returned to Orbitus. 9. Carrying with them the silent weight of what had occurred. Kiara's mind raced. The words echoed like a melody she could feel more than hear. She began trying to understand, not just intellectually but viscerally. Every time she looked at Eli, a warmth spread through her that made her feel dizzy and alive. Eli, for his part, couldn't deny the growing bond. Kiara's curiosity, her alien perspective, her courage, it was intoxicating. He had spent years among humans, thinking himself immune to fascination, but she had pierced through his defenses. One evening, in the quiet observation deck, they watched the violet clouds swirl above Lyra 7. Kiara finally spoke, her voice trembling. I understand now. Love is not just a word. It is connection, trust, courage, and perhaps joy. Eli's heart thumped. You don't have to define it, Kiara. You live it. Her luminous skin glimmered softly, reflecting the station lights. She reached out, touching his hand. It was tentative, but it carried weight. Thanks, love, she whispered again, this time with deliberate understanding. Eli smiled, taking her hand fully into his. You don't need to thank me. We're partners. For Kiara, it was a revelation. Not a theory. Not a simulation. A living, breathing truth. The ending. Understanding across worlds. Months passed. The orbiting station returned to routine, but nothing was the same. Humans and aliens worked together with a new understanding, and Kiara became a bridge between her species and humanity. She had learned 100 human words, but only one truly mattered, love. And now she knew it not just as a concept, but as a shared experience. Every time Eli smiled at her, every time he reached out in simple, ordinary ways, the word echoed in her mind, not as a sound, but as a pulse of warmth and certainty. On a quiet evening, as Lyra 7's gas clouds shimmered like molten metal, Kiara stood beside Eli on the observation deck. Do you think all humans say this so easily? She asked, still fascinated by the simplicity of the word. Eli laughed softly, pulling her closer. Some do. Some take a lifetime to say it. But it's always worth it. Kiara considered this, her eyes glowing faintly. Then I will say it often, not just as a word, but as truth. Eli kissed her forehead gently. I think you already have. And in that orbiting station, between human and alien, between star and gas giant, the first real echo of love traveled across species, a simple phrase that carried centuries of emotion in just 2 words. Kiara repeated it once more, savoring the resonance. Thanks, love. This time, she felt it, not as an observer, not as a student, but as a living, beating truth. And in that truth, she found belonging, courage, and the strange, exhilarating thrill of being loved and giving love across worlds.